For real this time. Okay, so before I get into any explanation, I just want to do a quick disclaimer. The camera will shake a little bit. I do apologize for that. Hopefully when I'm actually doing the flip through of this, it won't be too bad. Because I'll just be flipping pages. But for right now, like anytime I'm doing like hand movement, you can see it just shakes a little bit. The arm that's holding my phone is attached to the desk. The desk is sturdy, but it is a thin tabletop, like the desk itself isn't very thick. And so it's attached to that. And so anytime I move, it just shakes. I will be trying to figure out something to hook it up to make, so that's not an issue in the future. But for now, such is life, so I do apologize. Okay, with that out of the way, this is my second attempt at filming my Hobonichi Cousin Spring Start 2024 flip through. As you can see, it is quite thick, and hopefully, let me make sure that's in. Okay, I just want to make sure the whole book's in frame. So the last time I tried to film this, after I posted it, I kind of started skipping through it a little bit just to make sure everything, looked fine and everything. And I realized that one of my friend's addresses was like plainly visible for about 30 seconds. And I tried to cover it up with like the YouTube, I think I explained this in my last video. I tried to cover it up with like the YouTube editing tool, and I just couldn't. I think editing is fun, but it's very time consuming, and I don't want to give a lot of my energy to it personally. So I try to do as little editing as possible, and I had never used the YouTube editing like blur out thing, and I just couldn't get it figured out. I'm sure it's very easy. I just didn't have time to do it, and anyway, I decided the better thing to do would just be to delete the video. Plus, it was a little bit too long. It was an hour and a half, which is fine. I don't mind a long video, but I really just hadn't wanted it to be that long. And even this time around, I have dinner in the oven right now, so I have about 1 hour, or well, now a little bit less, probably about 50 minutes to get this filmed. So I'm going to try really hard to do a decent flip through, but also just do an actual flip through and I'm going to try so hard not to do too much talking. That was another thing when I did the flip through before. I like talked about every single page, not like crazy in depth, but just not everything needed a comment. So, I'm going to go through this now. I will start with the cover. I think, well, really quick too, I'll just start with the cover. So this is an official Hobonichi brand cover. It's obviously got a cover on it, the clear part. It is the Dreamy Soda one. It's kind of like, it's kind of, I don't know, like cotton candy-y, it's got the blue color and the pink interior. And I'm pretty sure I've explained these stickers before. I will go through a very quick explanation of them. This came from an Etsy shop, called This and That Homestead. It's an Orthodox Etsy shop. This came from Instagram, and I printed it out on HP Sprocket paper. This came from an Orthodox shop that I do not remember, but it's on Etsy. These two stickers here came from a pack of stickers that I got here from a local, like at a local craft store, like where they sell like local artists things, and it just came in a pack. Both of them came in the pack, and I thought they worked. These are two separate stickers that came from Etsy shops. I love this. Let's write weird and tender little poems. That was like when I got this, I was so happy about this particular sticker. And then this is these are I've said this before, and I promise I'm not like a hater by any means, but I do like to kind of give a disclaimer. I'm not a Swiftie, but I do like several of her songs. I think she's a good writer, all that jazz. And two of her songs that are my personal favorites and ones that resonate with me probably the most, honestly, are The Archer and Mirror Ball. And this particular sticker is both. It like represents like the Archer and Mirror Ball in one sticker. And I liked that just because I like both of those songs and they mean a lot to me, but also the color of the mirror of the like disco ball is that pink and blue. And so I thought it went really well with this cover too. So I was excited to get that as well. And then on the back side, I just have this picture here. It's Saint Porphyrios holding an icon of the Theotokos and Christ. And it's got a quote of his that I always try to incorporate in my planners in some capacity. I have for a couple of years now, just because I love the quote so much. And I'll read it here in case this is your first video of mine. Not that I've read it a lot on screen, but still. For a person to become a Christian, he must have a poetic soul. He must become a poet. Christ does not wish insensitive souls in his company. A Christian, albeit only when he loves, is a poet and lives amid poetry. Poetic hearts embrace love and sense it deeply. And then this is, these are tickets. I went on a writing retreat last year. I'm actually getting ready to go on a writing retreat, another one with the same group of people this week. We're going to be in Texas this year. I'm so excited because one, I won't get to see my friends, but also two, I have never been to Texas. So I'm pretty excited about that. Okay, so opening it up over here, we've got this icon. Let me just make sure this is in frame. And I'm sorry about the glare. It'll go away once I open the pages. Got an icon card here. This came actually from a mint tin, not Altoids, but it was kind of like that. I got it from Michael's, and it just had, the cover of Jaws and a quote from the movie, the head, the tail, the whole damn thing. And I loved it. And so this is a copy of the mint tin's lid. Now I just keep that tin. After I ate all the mints, I used it to store paper clips or whatever. But now, well, that's what I'm doing with it now, is I'm storing paper clips in it. But I had made this copy of the lid and I laminated it and just stuck it in here because I liked it. I keep a little field notes in here. There's I clearly didn't use very much of it. In fact, I might take this out and stick it in my next one, or in my current one. But it's got we did a family risk game, so I was keeping track of scores and stuff. This was when I came up with my title for my current serial. Just a little bit of journaling at the very beginning. So, yeah, anyway. So that's that. I have a zine in here that I made with a bunch of ideas for zines that I wanted to make in 2024. I'll have to go through this one of these days and see if I actually made any I made zines in 2024, but I don't know if they're from this particular list or not. I'll have to go back and see. A couple stickers, some extra photos that I'd accidentally printed out of my sprocket, I'd accidentally done doubles of, so I just stuck them in here. Here's a little magnetic bookmark that I think I got from Hobby Lobby. Here's just some extra pages and things I stuck in here. Nothing really too exciting. And I did have, let me grab her somewhere. Where is she? Oh, I did have in here before this is my current one, this little gal, and I stuck her in here because I wanted to move her along with each of my books. And I got her from Etsy. And then this was also in my old, in this one too, but it was always falling out. So this time around, I wanted to stick it in here and give it a proper home because I felt like it just never was fully part of this. Okay, so now here's the cover, and I've explained this on the show. I've explained this before here too. These are just a lot of stickers I got from various sources over time. A lot of them probably from Hobby Lobby or Michael's. This is the little jet pins guy. And I wanted, my word for last year for 2024 was courage. And so I wanted to incorporate that on the cover. And I was also just really trying to embrace creativity and have the courage to be more creative and to share more of my creative work. And I did that last year, and it was really, really great. I loved last year in terms of my creative stuff. So that was great. Okay, moving on. Like I said, how far along in this video am I? 10 minutes. Okay, we're going to do this. We're just going to flip through. I'm going to try not to explain everything. You can kind of just see at a glance, obviously, what I have. I have some random journaling things. Here's a sticker that I wanted to put on the cover that kind of ripped, and so I just stuck it here. I also, unless it's something very specific, I won't name where I got things. Not that I don't want to name them, but pretty much everything you see here comes from either a personal picture that I printed out in my sprocket, something from Instagram, or Pinterest that I printed off on my sprocket, or on paper, through my printer, or it came from, just Etsy. things like that. So pretty much anything you see came from, like sticker wise, came from that. And if I remember, I will try to maybe link some things down below. But that's just what I'll say, kind of disclaimer at the very beginning. And so we can try to get through a little bit more quickly. Okay. This is my like inspiration board for the year. I think I've explained this in a previous video. I'm not sure if I haven't, but usually I like to just have these and do pictures that either, pictures or words or phrases that either speak to kind of how I want to feel during the year, or, you know, I mean, really just how I want to feel throughout the year and kind of the vibe I'm going for. I won't do this a lot, I promise. But like you can tell the difference, like, not that they're super different, but like this one was kind of, I was kind of going for more of a dreamy feel. This one's a little bit, still has a little bit of that dreaminess to it, but it's maybe a little bit more warm colors. And it's just a little bit different. So I like how every year there can kind of be a different vibe that I'm going for. And it's just fun. Here's my author logo that my brother designed for me. I've shown this before. I printed it off on vellum and just stuck it in here. This is a page I stuck in. A lot of these too, and this is where I'm going to try not to get caught up because I want to explain everything. But like I said, I just don't want it to be too long. This is the, I do a lot of tip-ins. You will see a lot of tip-ins. So some of these are directly onto Hobonichi paper. This one is clearly not. I just stuck this extra paper in here. So you'll see a lot of that too. So not everything is directly on the Hobonichi page. Clearly, it's very thick. All right, so this is the Artist Sacathist. It's just a prayer for artists and scientists. And I'll just flip through. I'll do a little bit of explaining, obviously, at the beginning, and then I'll flip through, because the weeks and days are going to be pretty self-explanatory, honestly. Here's where I was trying to do quarterly planning along with HB90 and Moxie Life. I actually did this pretty consistently through the year, but not as much as I would have liked. And so I'm still doing HB90 stuff. I don't know. I just haven't fully figured out how I'm incorporating it into my current Hobonichi. If you watched my last video, you know that I kind of mentioned I might be using the Happy Planner for some more work-related stuff. I think I know what I'm doing now, and I'm not going to get into that here, but HB90 is still a part of what I do. It's just, you know, anyway. So here's my goals, quarters, and then, of course, the Moxie Life stuff. So we'll just stick through here. And then this, of course, is the index for the index that comes in the Hobonichi. And you can see, like, I just didn't really know how to use or utilize it properly last year. I think this year I'm just going to honestly use it for word count. So that's that. Okay. So now moving on, these are also, I don't know if you can tell too, I cover a lot of the extra months with paper as well to give myself extra note pages, because that's one qualm that I might have with the Hobonichi Cousin. It doesn't come with a lot of extra note pages, which is fair. There's not, you know, you have a lot in here already, but I use those extra pages as much as I can to get that extra space. Okay, so here we've got the months, and you'll see at the beginning here, I really didn't, and I'll try to go somewhat slow, but I really didn't have a whole lot at first of like plans. I tried to make it like a, what's the word? Like an editorial calendar, so I could kind of know when I wanted to post things. Didn't fully work that way. And then I started doing word counts, and this actually worked out really well for me. And pretty much from about August on, you'll notice I just did word counts. I didn't write much in October, it looked like. Well, actually I did. I just didn't record it. I know I was writing in October. And so I think that's where I did a lot of my word count here. I didn't in October, and then I wanted to start keeping track of it. So that's really where I started keeping track of it, you'll see. So really, I just use my monthlies for word counts. Like I said, now I think I'm going to do my word counts on the index pages, and I'll save this for actual plans, I think. We'll see. Some blank pages I stuck in that I didn't use. I've shown this before. This was kind of like my Moxie Life goal page. I'm not really doing that this year. I attempted, if you go back a few videos, you will see, and it was quite lovely, but I decided not to go that route. And then we get into the weeks. And I know, like, it's so thick. I know it's probably not very even here, but also I just noticed there's this huge shadow right in the middle of this because of the because of the phone that's just staring right at it. So I do apologize for that, but such is life. We're getting through it. Okay, so we've got my weeks. You'll notice I have some tip-ins, obviously. This was my attempt. I wanted to try out the Hero's Journal Planner. Or I guess the Hero's Planner from the Hero's Journal Company. And so I did that for this week just for fun. This was Holy Week. Here I watercolored like all the days, you know, kind of black or gray. And then Pascha, which is Easter, it was bright. Bright week. Here's those Moxie Life notes again. You can see too, I was trying to use kind of Moxie Life colors for a while as well. And you'll see that throughout the weeks. I did kind of, you know, I just kind of mixed. Here I obviously, I don't know, I didn't like how it looked, I guess, because I stuck in a practice or a different sheet. So we're just moving on. I mean, they're weeks. They're pretty self-explanatory. 4th of July, we went kayaking that week. This was the week of my cousin's wedding. I really didn't plan anything because we were gone. So I didn't write in any plans, and so I used it for more memory-keeping stuff. You know, a to-do list. Just kind of was having fun with that. This was the week I went on my writing retreat last year. Mission Possible and pizza night with the family. This was not and I even wrote it here, not technically the last week of summer, because summer I know doesn't technically end until, or doesn't technically, yeah, it doesn't technically end until towards the end of September. But to me, September just feels like fall, even if it doesn't literally feel like fall. And so I wanted to do like an end of summer spread. So that was that. Then we get into September. This was the first week of fall, and my husband was gone this week. So my son and I decorated for fall while he was gone so he could come home to fall. I didn't do anything this week, but we went to a corn maze, and so we put some pictures there. Just, you know, our anniversary. Pretty basic. Then I didn't do anything there. Sometimes when there's blank pages like this, I will just leave them blank and I'm fine. Other times I'll turn them into note pages, like extra note, you know, a whiteout or washi tape, or decorate it so that I can come back and do extra journaling or extra note taking or whatever. I just didn't do that with these, but I do that plenty of times elsewhere. Maybe not in this one, but in my last one I did a lot of that. But I also don't mind if they're blank. Just kind of depends on how I want to use it. Okay, this was, my son had just started going to public school this week. We're now back at homeschool, but, and then I had started work this week. So actually, I think I started work this week. I started work on the day before Halloween. So anyway, so that's this. I went to the Zine Fest this week, so that was fun. You'll see now for the next couple weeks, I've got work blocked out. This was obviously Thanksgiving break. And just a quick note, the week of Thanksgiving has historically always been one of my favorite weeks to decorate because my son's birthday always falls during Thanksgiving. Then it's, of course, Thanksgiving. And then even though in the Orthodox Church, my family, technically, we start Christmas decoration and all that jazz on November 15th every year because that's the beginning of the Nativity fast in the Orthodox Church. I still, I grew up where you don't decorate for Christmas until after Thanksgiving for most of my childhood. It changed when I was a teenager. Because my mom's mom actually passed away on Halloween. So then from there on out, my mom, you know, when she wanted to, you know, Halloween was always a sad day then for her. And so she started decorating for Christmas on Halloween when I was, you know, as I got older. So then we always started decorating for Christmas a lot earlier, but, I still like to make it more, you know, it'll be, cause did I do Christmas decorations back here? I did a little bit. See, so I had some fall with a little bit of Christmas. So I'm kind of I kind of start pulling it in, but this is the week where I've always been like, nothing matches. And I do birthday decorations, Thanksgiving and fall, and then Christmas. And I always just have fun making it a mess. This isn't that big of a mess, but in past years it has been. Christmassy stuff, wintry Christmas. Then we go into Christmas break, the week of Christmas menu there. the week of New Year, still on break here. This was a fun spread to decorate. This was our first week back to school, and this week was kind of a mess. A lot of things happened to this week. We got sick, and it led to this week deciding that we were going to come back to homeschool. Also, it was the season premiere of Severance season 2. We'd been waiting for like 4 years for that. 3 years, I guess. So this is one of the only weekly spreads that I did a plan with me on. They're kind of draining for me, to be honest, to do full-on weekly plan with me's. Every now and then I might still do one, but this is one of the few that I actually have up. My husband was ordained a subdeacon at the church, so that's that. And we're going through, we had a friend get married from church. This was the week of my birthday, so just did some planning and memory keeping. Also, I should point out, I tried a slightly different layout for these weeks, so you'll see that. I did it twice and then I just didn't do it again, which is fine. I tried to do some Moxie Life colors here. This was the week of St. Patrick's Day and I was just having fun with it. I put a quote from St. Patrick there. I just thought it would be kind of fun. Gosh, look how many weeks passed by and it was the Severance 2 season finale already. That's wild. I think it was only like 10 episodes. This was the week of the Annunciation. So I did a little quote from the Annunciation's Apologikion, which is like a hymn. So this really quick, this was like the last week. That's the first week of the new one. So I knew I wasn't going to use it in here. So I'll flip to the next page and then I'll come back to this to explain. The Hobonichis always have a turning the page where it's just blank. And in the spring edition, it says turning the page. In the regular, like January start, it says turning the page to a new year. And usually I just have written in here, my plans and ideas and, how I want the year to go and what I'm looking forward to, that kind of thing. So this time, because I wasn't going to use this last week, I decided to, turn it into an extra journaling page. And this is turning the page. And I called this one closing the book. So the end of it's actually before the beginning, but that's fine. And I journaled all about it, like how the year went and kind of what I was looking forward to. And then I'm like, well, now I don't really feel like I have anything to write in my next one's turning the page. So I don't think I'll do that again, although it was kind of fun to do that. Okay, then we get into the dailies and I'm just going to flip through. Again, it's pretty self-explanatory. If there are any questions you have, you can put them in the comments and I will answer them. But again, it's pretty self-explanatory. So here's April. We were in Lent. Went on a rainy walk. I'm just flipping through. Again, you'll see lots of tip-ins, lots of journaling, lots of ephemera, lots of pictures. This was really like my first time ever full-on memory keeping. I started tracking my time. This was my first editing job. And so I started tracking time, our first time eating out back, for the season. So again, I'm just flipping through. These little tip-ins came from I was working on a cognitive behavioral therapy workbook and these were from that. So I was trying to track, how I spent my time. Had a niece that was born. Anytime you'll see things like this, I guess I'll cover that, although it doesn't really matter. You probably already saw it. But I have all those light bulb stickers, and anytime I would get a new idea for a story or an idea or something like that, I would stick one of those stickers in, like a light bulb sticker, and then write my idea down. Here's May. I didn't use it for those 2 days, and I just turned it into journaling pages that I never used, but that's fine. They look pretty. So yeah, this was Pascha, which is our Easter, Orthodox Easter. So I'm just flipping through. This is what I wanted to try, the Hero's Journal. So I did a daily thing for that, just for fun. And I'm just going to start flipping through because I don't want to take up too much time. What's this? Oh, just an extra week I'd put in here. Oh, this was a sample weekly rhythm. I wanted to have a sample weekly rhythm. 6 months for life. This was something Sarah Cannon does on her Heart Breathings channel. I had tried to do it and then I just kind of fell off the bandwagon with it, but I put a little tab. It was just an extra day, so I did that. This was when we were on a trip. We went on a pilgrimage to a monastery in Washington. And you'll notice something I do with my Hobonichis is they're so experimental for me. So one of the things when we were at the monastery was we talked about vows, like monastic vows that are taken, and that how those of us who aren't monastic still, in a way, like if we're married or even single, in a way we live by those same vows too, or at least ideally we would. So I wanted to try keeping those the focus of my day, just kind of to see how it went. So you'll see in the next week's daily pages, I put these boxes here: obedience, poverty, and chastity. And I tried to think of, and for the record, chastity isn't just in relation to sexual things. It can be just a purity of heart, right? So anyway, this was a friend sent me this postcard from a book. Anyway, so I tried to do it for the week, and you'll see, like, I clearly didn't really keep doing it, so I stopped after the week. And then sometimes my days, I'll have the same kind of sticker vibe, just to kind of, oh, look, here's one of my first times drawing a coffee cup, or attempting to, and I wrote, there was an attempt that was made. You'll see some of my beginnings of like trying to do more sketching. This just for fun. My son, we do swimming lessons every year, and for the entire time that we do swimming lessons, there's an ice cream place, like a fast food place, like right next door, or, you know, like a block away, I guess I should say. And they have really cheap ice cream cones. So we get one every day during our week of swimming lessons. And I did it in my last book, and I did it in, I guess I should say, I did it in my first Hobonichi, I did it in this one, and I plan to, Lord willing, do it in this current one. I always take the first, like the wrapping off of the cone, and I've stuck it in here the last two Hobonichis, so that's kind of my new tradition. I decorated these pages, but I obviously didn't do anything really with them. Just some pictures from Sunday school. This was just, I didn't do anything here, so I just made an extra miscellaneous photo page. We went to go look at the Shoshone Falls. I wanted to make some zines. This was a sample idea I was doing to see how I wanted my layout to be. I just love this is when we went kayaking. I just love this is one of the first prototypes of my zine business card. The first one side is my actual like information about myself, and then the other side is a sample of my the opening scene or the opening chapter of my story. The Hobonichi is just so experimental for me. And it's fun, and it really gets my ADHD going in that every day can be different. This is when we went to Oregon for my cousin's wedding. Every day can be different. Every week can be different. I can try something new every week, and it's just really fun. We also, I don't know if I wrote about it, but we came home and we had COVID. Yeah, we all had COVID when we came back, so that was fun. This was something I tried to do. I did a drawing of a girl that my sketching was still very much like stuck at my 12-year-old self's sketching abilities. And so I sketched a girl, and then I tried to do a little bit of mixed media incorporation just for fun. This I had so much fun doing, and I really like doing mixed media and journaling around it, but I also am like, and I didn't do a whole lot more of this, you'll see, but I kind of wish that I almost wouldn't have journaled around this particular one, because I liked it, and I'm like, oh, this would be fun to like make a print or something, because I just had a lot of fun making that. Okay, this is another zine, a prototype of a zine cover I made for one of my zines. And we're just going through. Now we're in August. We're getting through it. This was my launch day for my cereal, and also the day my grandpa passed away. I actually found out he passed away right after I launched. So it was kind of a bittersweet day. These were things, I was writing a zine, and those were a bunch of things I wanted to include in the zine. It was a zine about all the jobs I'd had. Another little attempt. You'll also see some things, and I will explain this. I did a big cleaning out of a lot of my old, we're at 30 minutes. We're making great time with this. Last time, this was like an hour in. So when I got to about this point, so we're doing really well. You'll start to see here that I have some things just stuck in. Like this one was from 2024. I have a couple things you'll see in a minute that are even from 2023. The reason for that is because I was kind of going between trying to figure out what I was doing journal-wise. And some things I was okay with just throwing away. I was trying to clean out all my old journals and just, not have things be so cluttered and so many things. I wanted just less stuff. But there were obviously some things that I wanted to save, and I figured in order to give them a home, I just stuck them in here. So you'll see that in a second. This is one of them. I wanted to do budgeting stuff in a little field notes book, and so I took out some of the goals that we had because mainly they also had some quotes on there that I liked. Another little attempt at mixed media, a doodle I did. This is when the Hobonichi 2025 lineup was released, and so I wanted to, or rather, it was released on, no, maybe it was released here. I don't really remember, but it was when it came out showing what was going to be released September 1st for the January Hobonichi. I just wanted to see, you know, for covers and things like that. So I did that. This was the packing list for my trip to New York last year for my writing retreat. And so there's some pictures in there, some journaling, just some stuff from my retreat. It was such a great retreat, and I'm so excited. I always get nervous before a flight, especially when I'm by myself. But I love traveling, and I love this group of people, and I'm so excited to go see them again. I wish my husband and son were coming. This year, a couple of the family members are joining as well. Like one of the wives and one of the girlfriends, and my husband and son were also invited, and but it just was too expensive for all of us to go. So I'm super bummed they're not coming this year with us, because my husband's actually never met these writing people, my writing friends, in person. He's chatted with them on Zoom and stuff, but he's never met them in person, and I just feel like he would get along with them really well. And so I am bummed they're not coming this year, but it'll be fun, hopefully next year. So I'm really excited to be back to this. Here's a picture my son colored in Sunday school. And we're going, this was just me doing some, swatching from some new highlighters I got. We went to the planetarium. This was actually at the writing retreat. My friend, he'd been bugging me for a year because him and I both love movies. And I had never seen Casablanca. And he was like, what? You've never seen Casablanca? So he bugged me for like a year to watch it. And I just never got around to it. So he actually had brought everybody gifts for our writing retreat. They were all book related except for mine. He got me a DVD of Casablanca. And he said he wanted proof that I watched it. So this was me and my husband getting ready to watch it for date night. And I sent that picture to our writing group's text message group to be like, look, we're watching it. We're getting ready. So that was fun. And it was a very good movie. Yeah, it was just one of those movies I had never seen before. And I love movies, and I watched a lot of old movies with my mom back in the day, but that was just one we never watched. So you'll see here, I kind of struggled here starting in September to use it a whole lot. This was also, I was getting ready to get a job. I have a couple things covered there just for privacy purposes, but I was getting ready, From season 3 premiere. I love From. Okay, so here's where you're going to see some things that I ripped out of a previous planner. This is from Commit 30. I tried to do Commit 30, and I actually have a video on here somewhere of this, even in there. And obviously I stuck it in here now because I don't have that planner anymore. This wrapping paper I'd had for a long time, and when I used up the last of it, I stuck some of it in here too. This was a doodle I did in December of 2023. This was actually something from 2020. And I found it in just a random journal with like nothing written in it hardly. So I wanted to save that. And it was just my son saying he wanted to be homeschooled because he loves me. Here's this picture again, and this quote, it always makes appearances. This was like a vision board, inspiration board I had in my Commit 30 at the time. And then just some like New Year's goals. And then this was from Christmas 2023. It was a Christmas tag that my son gave me on his gift to me at Christmas 2022 that I found again in Christmas 2023. And I had stuck it in my 2023 like journal planner thing. And I stuck it in here just so it would have a place to live. And that's that. Okay, so then we get back into the dailies. This was Pumpkin Patch again. My husband and I, our anniversary is actually on October 1st, but we went out on at the end of September for anniversary. My dog's hair was in here, and so I taped it in here because I said it's everywhere else. Why not here too? It was very long. We've since gotten her trimmed. Okay, we're in October. October 2nd was my grandpa's birthday, so I put an older picture of him and my siblings and I from his 80th birthday. This is our wedding anniversary, 13 years. Blank pages I didn't do anything with. This was my son was getting ready to start school. There were a lot of emotions happening. So you can tell like I just wasn't really focused on journaling or anything like that. My husband's birthday, I didn't even do anything. Like clearly we were just going through a big change. This was my son's start of school. An old business card for my husband when he used to work at that bank. That was years ago, like 8 years ago. He does not work there anymore. And a friend of ours, real estate business card. So anyway, my son finished his first week of school. He really loved it. Then we're going into, oh my gosh, I almost got scammed by an editing job. Thankfully, I caught it pretty quickly. But yeah, that was a fun thing. We introduced my son to Creature from the Black Lagoon. I attempted doodling an icon just for fun. It was crazy sock day. Okay. I'd had a miscarriage on this day back in 2015. So I stuck that in there as like a little memory eternal. Okay, Halloween, always fun. We always go trick-or-treating with friends from church. Good time. Friend from church, kiddo from church had a 16th birthday. This was what I had the address on, so I had to go and delete that. Every year, it started in 2015, eating pumpkin pie for breakfast on November 1st. I first did it for NaNoWriMo. 2015, rest in peace, NaNoWriMo. But I've still kept this tradition. So every November 1st, I eat pumpkin pie for breakfast. So that was fun. And then, okay. Oh, here's another page that I ripped out and glued in here on this blank page just from one of my old journals that I wanted to stick in here. So, okay, it was election day. I dressed festively. And if you want to see who I voted for, it's right there. And I guess I'll just say, just in case, I did not vote for our current President Trump, but he won. What do you do? Such is life. So there's that. And my son was governor for the day at school, so that was fun for him. This was Boise Zine Fest. So that was a lot of fun. My sister and I drove up, and she helped me, and that was great. It was Veterans Day. My husband is a veteran. Yeah, here we go. And then the Nativity Fast began, and we decorated for Christmas, the first snow of the season. I was thinking of making zines for gifts to save money. I did not do that, but it was a fun idea. Maybe I'll do that this year. This is not my son's birthday, but the day they celebrated his birthday at school. And then we're going on. Here's just some pages I typed in there. Season finale from season 3. It was such a great cliffhanger. Oh, so good. This is my son's birthday, 10th birthday. This was a note I left to my husband because was I sick? I can't remember. I think I was starting to get sick, and I couldn't remember if I'd already taken Tylenol. So I left my husband a note, and I said, if I start acting stranger than normal, I think I accidentally took too much Tylenol. I left him that note just in case I like died or something. He would know how I died. So we were laughing about it. So I stuck it in there because it's funny. Here we go, Thanksgiving. And then the day after Thanksgiving, we always watch, our town does these Christmas fireworks the day after Thanksgiving. So we always watch those. And obviously that would have been here, but I stuck them in here on Saturday's day. So that was fun. We always watch them with my family. Moving on. Okay, I'm going to start flipping through this a little bit faster. Also, sometimes I'll stick pictures in for days that there's not room, and I'll just tape them in and write about them on the other side. So if you're ever curious, this is my first Hobonichi order. We are flipping through. I also think bread is going to be ready soon. We went to Christmas parade with our friends, and they baked us chocolate sourdough bread. It was so good. All right, we're moving right along, We're getting through Christmas stuff. Just Christmassy things. I was still working at this time. Look at that sunset. So pretty. We went to go see Christmas lights with family. Just a lot of fun. Made cookies. This is my mother-in-law's retirement party. Christmas stuff with my parents. My dad's hiding behind the Christmas tree. I got these cool zebra Sarasa clip, like vintage colors, and so I was testing them out there. This came on the wrapping paper that my son had wrapped he made us a present at school and wrapped it for us. And I saved the little card he made us. It's Christmas Day. Christmas Day was such a lovely, lovely slow Christmas this morning, or this past 2024. It was so nice for our family. We were really grateful. Always got to have that Terry's orange in there for Christmas. Okay, so going through, writing some goal ideas and stuff. I stuck this in here because I was trying to do like more seasonal planning as well. I didn't really follow through with that a whole lot, but there it is. New Year's. So now we're in 2025. These were some kind of some creative goals I wanted to focus on. This is when I was starting to think that I wanted to leave my job just for a lot of reasons. And my son wanted to come back to homeschool. And so Saint Zinnia is kind of the saint you pray to if you are looking for a new job or need help with employment stuff. And so I came back on the 17th and updated because we had returned to homeschooling and I just felt like I had had some prayers answered. And so I wrote about that. These are just all the things I want to do with my life. I had started reading this book about being a Renaissance soul and just having being like a multi-passionate creative and just lots of ideas. My son started basketball. I'm really zooming through this, but stickers my son got from a grocery store. Season premiere, season 2. And 1 year in the Hobonichi, technically 16 months total, but it was just a nice thing to be doing that. My son's first basketball game. He had friends over, friends from church. I don't really save stuff like this, but it was just, I thought it was such cute packaging. I bought makeup for the first time in like 3 years, just like some glittery eyeshadow and some mascara and stuff. And so I just thought that box was cute from the eyeshadow, so I kept it. Okay, so journaling. We're just going through, we're getting there. My son and I went to go see Dog Man. Now we're in February, so I saved the tickets and stuff. And by the way, at this point in time, I had my 5-year Hobonichi, which now I'm starting to do this kind of stuff in my 5-year Hobonichi because I don't want my next planner to get this thick, even though I love it. So I just don't know. I don't think I'm going to do as much memory keeping in my cousin from now on. I think I'm going to save that for my 5-year Hobonichi, but I wanted to finish out this year doing it. So that's why there's still a lot of memory stuff in the end of this, and there won't be as much in the beginning of my Hobonichi 5-year because I was finishing out here, but that's all right. Save the date for my other cousin's wedding. My husband helped me bake prosphora, which is the bread we use for communion at church. I was being goofy and trying to draw Minecraft stuff. My son's basketball pictures. We were starting Triodian, which was the 3 weeks leading up to Lent. Super Bowl Sunday. Well, I guess technically these were pictures. This is Super Bowl Sunday. But I stuck in pictures there. All right. So just kind of going through. Oh, these icons too were also icons that I had ripped out of pages from those old journals and I didn't want to throw them away. So I stuck them in here too. So you'll see some icons. This was the day my husband was ordained as subdeacon. Things I wanted to do before Lent. My nephew, my husband was raised Mormon before we, he was raised Mormon and then became a Protestant and now we're Orthodox. So obviously we still have a lot of Mormon family members and so, or LDS. And so, we went to go see my first nephew who's going on his LDS mission. And I, from the time he was 5 years old and I came into the family, I'm like, I want to always be there when you guys open up your mission things. I want to see where you're going. So it was so exciting to finally get to do that. It was really emotional. It was fun. So then my son and I went to go see, this was the last basketball game. My parents came to that. I mean, they came to other ones, but, my son and I went to go see A Year with Frog and Toad and they sold cookies in the middle at intermission. That was fun. Went to a friend's house. They fell asleep. Him and the other kiddos fell asleep while watching a movie. These are friends. This was their save the date. The friends that got married, but this was their actual wedding date. So I stuck it on there. This was March. This was my first attempt trying to do a little bit more of a, not my first attempt, I guess, but my more serious attempt at trying to do a little bit more of a, like, inspirational vision board, like vibe board for the month. So I did that. Also, I had not been listening. Last summer, I flew through the first like couple seasons of the Magnus Archives, which is like a horror fiction podcast. And then I started working, and I was still listening to it on the drive to work, but then it was the holidays, and then our January just started out so wild. We had a lot of things going on, like going back to homeschool and friends going through tough times, and it was just, and then it was Lent, and it was just crazy. So I was like, okay, in March, I have to catch back up and get back on board. So I'm now in season 4, loving it, great, cool. So March was when I started re-listening, or picked back up the Magnus Archives. We were in Lenting, my 37th birthday. Goofy Movie. I had a shirt of Goofy Movie, and then my sister, that I've had for years, that my sister got me years ago, and then she also got me this Goofy Movie cup. Save the date for another cousin I have getting married. And then where are we at time-wise? Oh, we are like flying through. This is great. Okay. So we're just going through St. Patrick's Day, first day of spring. So really this is just, oh, it's so nice to flip through this so quickly. Had a sibling day. I cut my hair for the first time in 3 years. It was 3.5 feet long, and they cut 8 inches off. So the picture's kind of dark, but it's fun to kind of see the difference. And there's a picture of my current Hobonichi with this Hobonichi, and this had already gotten a little bit thicker, but you can see how small it was. And then the end. And by God's grace, I did it, a full year in my Hobonichi. Also, I don't know if you noticed, but some of my monthly dashboards, I had these little Post-it notes. Basically, every month I was trying to remind myself to stay with the Hobonichi. So I would be like, even for my birthday, I think I said like it said, what did it say? Did I put it? Yeah. Happy 37th birthday to a happy Hobonichi girly. Like I was just always trying to keep reminding myself, keep using the Hobonichi. You love it. It works. Just do it. Okay. So then we get into the few note pages in the back. I did like a 5-act structure breakdown. I was trying to think of my word for the year. My son was just drawing circles. I didn't do anything here. This, I was going to do episodes of a serial that I was working on. This was my actual serial I started working on, and I was trying to list all of my episodes. Well, I did. I listed all my episodes that I wrote towards, during this time period. I wanted to write a lot more, but such is life. This is a zine series I have. You can buy the first issue on Etsy. I wanted to write the rest of them, and I did not do that. YouTube video ideas, Substack post ideas, business stuff I wrote in there. This was supposed to be kind of a business spread. This was my first attempt. Well, technically my second attempt at a Substack. Now my Substack is Purple Newt Press, but it was Cotton Candy Cosmos. Before that, it was A Jaunt to the Grave, which I still love A Jaunt to the Grave so much. I'm going to use that for something else. Actually, probably a zine idea. Some zine ideas I had. This was, I was watching Wendigoon's cryptid iceberg video series because I wanted to do research. I wanted to list all the cryptids out for my serial because they were like monster hunters and there's cryptids involved and stuff. So I was watching his series and writing down all of the cryptids. And then I did a little key, like to color, like if they were water cryptids, forest cryptids, that kind of thing, so that I could have ideas for stories. Or for episodes. Okay, so then here's the back. This was my, I ordered these Hobonichis from JetPens, and JetPens always sends you this little comic with your like receipt. And so I cut them out and put them in here. This case cover is the Dreamy Soda one. I already mentioned that. Hobonichi always has a theme every year. Their theme for 2024 was Life is Present, so I just stuck that in. Here was my weight loss. I was keeping track of that. It's kind of like stuck in there now, but I've got other things that I stuck in here. Little goofy jokes and stuff like that we'd had. And then this, I won't go through all of this. This is like, I always stick the Hobonichi little brochure in here and then a little Hobonichi card. So I always have that. And then honestly, this is just a whole bunch of stuff from the year. It's like, what's this? This is I think this is my cousin's or my nephew's graduation. Oh no, this is just a thing. Just a little card, presents by Patience. Anyway, this is just a whole bunch of stuff in here from different things that happened throughout the year. I think there's like a funeral thing I stuck in here from a funeral for my dad's best friend, something from the monastery. So just a lot of random stuff. And then also, I don't think I pointed out back here is also a lot of random stuff that I won't open this because it takes forever to close, but it's a lot of other stuff from the year that was back here, but it was so full. So I just shoved it back here. It's invitations to graduations, things like that, but I won't open it because like I said, this is really hard to close back up. And it really was only towards the end of the year that like this started breaking and stuff. It was pretty sturdy, but now obviously it can't really close. But I can put it on a shelf or in a bin and just kind of keep it together. So, or maybe put a big rubber band around it. So that was the long-awaited, at least for me, Hobonichi Techo 2024 Cousin Spring Start Edition Flip-Thru. Thank you so much for watching if you made it to the end of this video. And hope you enjoyed it. And I hope you have a blessed day. Thanks for watching. Bye.